conversations I can just naturally have because my energy is way too big for this conversation. So I'll just leave it where it is. I can sit here and talk about it. I can sit here and talk about the fact that there are people who claim to have a vested interest in our experience here who haven't said a word about this. Or I could just be the guy who just says, hey, this is what's going on and take it as it is. Because if I do anything more than that, it's going to be a whole lot more energy than I need to be invested in people who I'm trying to divest from. Um, Jesus Christ. This conversation hurts. It's one of the more painful conversations, which is why I don't like to even delve in this area. At best, a man can be looked at as being disingenuous if there's anything in my own life that says contrary to what this message is, which is to protect the Black woman, justice, any of those messages. And so if anybody wanted to delve into my life, they would find the areas that they can hold into the highest level of scrutiny as well. And rather than be that perpetual bad guy who's damned if I do and damned if I don't, just leave the information here, and hopefully somebody who sees it knows what's going on and they know what steps they might want to take next. As well as there are people who are interested in traveling and making themselves more present and making their real energies more felt. And in these type of trials, this type of history, this type of experience that we have here. So that be you, going right ahead, but I'm just gonna leave it right here. And there's too much to say about it, so I'll say less. There's far too much to say about it, so I'll say less. Not that I'm actually like I really don't care what people say, but to some extent it is like we've seen a lot of the monetization happen after the destruction of Black bodies. And even though my channel is not monetized and such, the part of me that says divest from it all says even putting this information back out there is just going to be another cue for people who really don't have an invested interest to start acting like they care again, for people who are just waiting for the drama and the noise to look into it. Um, not people who actually care. They don't have to care. They don't have to, they haven't said much about it since. They don't follow it. But the only thing that would happen again is that she turns into clickbait again. And Tamika Palmer has to bear witness as she's going through this ordeal. Number one, that she's not alone, but then number two, that there are people out there who wish to see injustice prevail, that the life taken, the murdering of her daughter is a justified thing, is their position. And so she's going to have to bear through that. I think one of the positive reasons for sharing it is that there are women who can be, who can console, who do have great intentions, and who can be there for each other, as undoubtedly this case, this high profile case, will garner more attention and force our sisters to relive it once again. Those who had, kind of distanced themselves from it, those who kind of looked at 2022 as a year where they can kind of, compartmentalize what's painful with what's productive. And this could be one of those triggers for what's painful. And so that's another reason why I was like, wow, do I even share it? Do I even put that update out there for the world? Do we let that energy resonate? Or do we just remain silent? So the people who know and the people who are involved, they should speak. But sometimes it doesn't seem like the best thing to do, speaking. Sometimes it doesn't like showing your hand or playing your card or showing people how you actually feel. That's not the best thing. It's almost, and it's one of the things that I don't like, is how it starts to align with the more effeminate or the broken Black male who has the feelings and expresses the feelings. And it becomes what they would consider the beta way of looking at things, to say, we need to do our job to protect, we need to do our job to inform, we need to care. All of those things start to feel beta. Like, why are you caring? Like, why do you care about these dudes? Why about any of it? I have my own family, I have my own bills, I have my own community and people and everything that I can devote myself to. Why would I care about something, a national story that deals with the collective of Black people? Um, and I don't know. I don't know. That's my conundrum. So you see, I'm actually sharing it, but at the same time, it's like it hurts. I am caught between a rock and a hard place. I think a lot of people know enough of the information for me not to have to go through the meticulous details about the EMT worker whose home was invaded. That the other two officers, there were three officers or detectives involved, and the other two weren't charged with anything. And that in this case, the one that is actually coming to trial, it was the officer or detective that was charged with 3 counts of wanton endangerment, specifically because the apartment behind, um, it was all right to kill the sister. It was all right to take her out. It was all right to make Breonna Taylor a body bag. Um, but because there was a threat posed to the apartment behind, where there was a man and a child and a pregnant woman who did not get, um, whose lives were also potentially in danger. I mean, there's so many ways that this is going to sway. I hope people are already resolved, that they know where they stand on this, so that me not giving too much contextual framework is still all right. I'm not built like a lot of folks who can just keep going through these type of experiences and reliving them and reliving them and reliving them. I still live with my emotions right here and right here. I'm not old enough to have developed that callus yet, and then I'm not young enough to just think that this doesn't matter. To where we need to focus on sports or whatever else it is. Um, I'm not that much of an old soul that thinks that the marching and protesting and everything matters to the extent of changing anything. But the no knock warrant is one of those things that is on the chopping block in America. So there was at least one accomplishment that the activists who monetized the destruction of our sister and commercialized the destruction of our sister, they have at least one thing that they can fall back on and say, yeah, well, when it comes to the no knock warrants, we made a national conversation about it, and we've seen a lot of justice departments actually wrestle with this concept, and whether or not it changes in the future, or more or less, they've at least made one advancement towards that. Civil rights, criminal justice reform, and the militarized policing and all that. They made at least one advancement. And so we'll give them that credit. Those who actually got out there and marched, and they had the signs, they didn't have to volunteer their time at all. To be honest, no streets had to be painted, no busts had to be created, no tears actually had to be shed, because for the most part, when African American women are killed in America, don't the family knows, and it's not something that actually resonates with many people. They can't look at this woman and see sister. They can't look at this woman and see daughter. They can't look at this woman and see anything beyond just another national story that caught the headlines for a while, and then the aftermath. They can more or less remember the details of the aftermath more than they can actually remember the strength or the caliber of the woman. And then there's also been a lot of smear campaigns and things that have been run against her and her character, and her life, to try to devalue and debase the woman. And so, me, when I try to even speak about this, I just get hot. I get hot for other reasons, though. As a man, I get hot at Kenneth Walker, the guy who failed to protect her. And that's another reason why I don't like to go into the conversation too in depth, because I'll be here screaming at the microphone. And if anybody says it's against code, this would be one of those times when B1 Brother Moses is against code. I shouldn't be saying those things while the trial is happening. We all should be on the same page that something should happen. Even though it's only wanton endangerment, he needs all three of those counts at the very minimum. We know that the expectation should have been more. But I mean, shoot. I don't want to just be sitting here triggering, because I realize that that's another way to sell in this space. So with that being said, say her name, Breonna Taylor. Trial starts. Down to 48 lawyers. 48, excuse me, jurors. They'll whittle that down. You see what the three charges are: 3 counts of wanton endangerment. Told you why those are important. The trial's kicked up now. I won't go into too many more details. God bless. This is a beautiful bust. If anybody hadn't seen it, there in Union Square, I believe. A lot of people like to use the picture of her in uniform. I like to show her in all her voluptuous beauty, as she is sitting there, with them nice knees. She looks like it, like if I needed any woman that would fight for me, she looks like a woman who would have been there to fight for me. And so with that, she looks like she's made in the image of my grandmother. She could also be made in the image of my wife or the image of my daughter or the unborn young woman. So with that, I give her respect. I give Tamika Palmer her respect. I don't know how the family wants to approach it, whether or not they're going to get, media involved to be a voice, whether or not they're going to, ring the bells again so that people can stay focused and get back acclimated to fighting. I don't know what their wishes are as a family, so I'll just respect it by just saying, look, this is what's going on. This has been your B1 Network update. I am B1 Brother Moses, and I'll check you all out later. Keep it 100. And that's all I got right now. So I'm out.